colored toothpaste. So that colored toothpaste might be helpful for some kids with that low vision. A white toothbrush, blue toothpaste, or red, white, and blue toothpaste, red toothpaste, but that might not work for some kids. Some kids have significant vision loss, and some kids or students or adults have lost all their vision. So a couple other options. Your first knuckle is about the length of a toothbrush. So you can squeeze some toothpaste onto that first knuckle, and you can scrape it off with your toothbrush, start brushing your teeth, but maybe you don't like putting it on your finger. So open up the cap of the toothpaste, squeeze some toothpaste into your mouth. You can control how much toothpaste you're getting in your mouth. You can control, as little or as much as you want, and that could be a learning process. And then you're not going to spill any, you're not going to have any going all over. Grab your toothbrush, get it wet, start brushing your teeth. What I really liked the last time we had some little elementary kids here, showed them that, and they came back a second time. And I had 2 students say, I've been doing this at home on my own. My parents don't do it anymore for me, which is a pretty cool thing. As I worked with an adult one time, think about a bathroom, right? We have lots of white light, lots of white walls, white countertop, white sink. She had a toothbrush with white bristles and white toothpaste. And she had low vision. And she goes, it's the worst part of my day sometimes. She goes, I'll squeeze some toothpaste out and then it falls off my toothbrush. So now she's looking for white toothpaste on a white sink, and she wants to find it and she can't find it. And her frustration goes up, her stress goes up, her anxiety goes up. So we talked about all these different options. And the next day I had her, she goes, I squeezed toothpaste into my mouth and it made my life so much easier. She goes, I'm not spilling, there's no frustration. She goes, I start the day out good and better now, which is a great way. We want to start the day out on a good note. So I think just having different options and something that somebody can try is a good way to go. So now let's jump into the shower. So we have shampoo and conditioner and body wash, and and if you have parents or siblings or roommates, there can be lots of stuff in a shower or bathtub. And everybody says everything has a place and everything in its place. That's a great motto. But when people are roommates and parents and siblings are there and stuff gets moved around, we can't always go, oh, I always keep my shampoo on the back right corner. Well, I pick it up and go, well, that's not my shampoo. So learning a system of labeling, I think, is vital. So we can label that shampoo depending on if you have some vision. Take a heavy permanent marker and write like a big thick S on there if you have some vision. Or if it's conditioner, write a big C on that bottle, or even a B for body wash. So now we've got 3 things. But again, lighting is always coming into a factor. So we might want to think about, I can't see that. The bottle is really dark. I can't take a permanent marker that I can see on that. So I can take a rubber band, just a simple rubber band I can put around my shampoo. 2 rubber bands around my conditioner and my body wash. I can do 3 rubber bands. Or another option is I can take a kitchen knife and I can cut a groove into the bottle. It might be in the cap, but just a single groove. So again, a single groove would be my shampoo, 2 grooves, and that's simple. And I do a little talk on sometimes about like 50 dangerous things that we should let our kids do. And playing with a knife sounds dangerous for some people. But as we get older, we got to be able to use a knife. And I'm going to demonstrate a knife later and some safety knife skills. So just taking a sharp knife that has some teeth in it and cutting on that bottle. We don't want to cut through the bottle, but we just cut on it. Recently, I was at a hotel and the room had 4 keys. We're like, how are we going to divide this? How are we going to know which key? And so they took like a penny or a dime. It's got the rough edges. And they scratched onto the hotel key right down the middle, so they knew which key was which. And they're like, well, I have my key. And they're like, how do you know? They're like, I could feel the line on it. They had no vision loss, but it just helped them determine whose key was which. So just a simple tactual description. Okay, so now we're out of the shower and we gotta get dressed, right? Well, we want to make sure that we look good for the day, and there's lots of things. Like I have lots of button-up shirts, and like this is one that doesn't have a pocket. Many of my button-up shirts, long sleeves, have pockets on them. Well, if I'm going to you can get little braille tags that you could sew into your shirt on your seam. They could say BL for blue, BK for black, and it's in braille and print. Last week we had adults and we sewed in a way around tag for someone's shirt. And then I even called it dry cleaners. Let's say you don't know how to sew, right? So the dry cleaner said it's $3 to sew on a button. Well, that's what these tags are, or the way around tags. And if you're not sure what a way around tag is, you download an app and you buy these buttons or these tags, and they come in different sizes, and you can sew them onto the clothes, or you can put them on food containers, or a variety of things around your house, and then use your phone as a recording device. So it's your own voice, it goes on there. It's a nice way to label things. So if you don't know how to sew, take your clothes to a dry cleaner, $3, and that's a nice way so you know what it is. But if I have like a high school shirt with a logo on it, or a university shirt with a logo, I probably know what that shirt is, or sweatshirt. I don't have to label everything. It's a simple way of labeling things. There's many different ways. You know, you can take safety pins, make a parallel, vertical. 2 safety pins means, well, if I have a pair of pants that I put 2 safety pins in, they match, they coordinate. Do I need to know what they are? No. If I have them going horizontally, again, they're going to match with something else. Men, it's much simpler than women, because women are more designs and more colors and more patterns and things like that. They have different colored slacks. So there's always ways to label items and label your clothes. So it's really important. So then let's jump into, and there are color identifiers. APH has a color identifier that works pretty well. There's some phone apps that work. I'm not always impressed with the phone apps. And sometimes like the one from APH, there's a cost to that as well. But it works, and some people like it depending on how you want to go. But again, working towards that independence, being able to select your own clothes. We all have our favorite clothes that we want to wear. And you know, on Saturdays and Sundays, we want to be comfortable and lounge or whatever we're going to do. We're going to go out on a date or a job interview or go to work. What are we going to look like? So it's important to think that and to come up with a system that works for yourself. Socks as well. I know some people that buy all the same brand of socks and all the same color. So then they just go through the wash and then they just match them up. Well, I like a variety of color socks, short socks, long socks. Winter here in North Dakota, it can get cold, so I might have some thicker socks for the winter, thinner socks for the summer. You can safety pin those together. Don't buy your safety pins at a dollar store. They may rust, they may break. Buy just a good safety pin at a Target or a Walmart. At the end of the day, safety pin your socks together. Put them in the wash. As they come out, your socks are already matched. You can put those down and you know what you have. So now that we're dressed, we're gonna run into the kitchen, right? Today we're gonna have like cereal for breakfast. So I'm gonna just jump out and I'm gonna grab 2 cereal boxes. So, and today I'm in the kitchen at the school line. This is where the kids eat breakfast, lunch, and supper, as well as the adults. Where the iPad is, we have a table that would seat 8 people. And then behind me is a kitchen. And I have an island here where I can demonstrate and work with kids and adults. But what I have here is Cheerios and Honey Nut Cheerios. I don't want to like go up and go, oh, I have 5 different types of cereals at my house. Let me open the box of cereal and take a sample from each one to determine what I want for breakfast. Because if I've sampled 5 cereals, I'm probably full that day and I don't need cereal. So simple ways, I can just put a staple in the top of my Honey Nut Cheerios. So most people don't have 5 cereals. Let's say I only have Cheerios and Honey Nut. So I might just put a staple in the box of the Honey Nut Cheerios and nothing in my regular Cheerios. So it's a simple way. So next time let's say I have Cheerios and then I have Fruit Loops. Well, there again, I may not even label my Cheerios because I know that's what that is. And then I may just label my Fruit Loops with one staple again. So it's learning a system, or again, I can take a rubber band and put it around that. Something else I could do is I could just tear off half of the box top. And so as I do that, I go, oh, there's no box top there. That's my Honey Nut Cheerios. So it's not going out to buy something. It's not labeling something. It's just doing something simple that we can adapt in our house. It's, there are the apps like the Seeing AI, where it can be the barcode reader. That works well. But again, I want to be quick and efficient in my house or my apartment, wherever I'm living. And I don't want to go, Mom, Dad, can you give me the Cheerios? Well, if I'm 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, I want my child to be independent. And that just helps, I think, self-esteem, the self-efficacy, just the whole person. If we're able to do things for ourselves, it's just a better feeling as we're moving on, as we're going to grow into adulthood. So let's say I pour cereal. And so I'm going to pour myself a bowl of cereal, right? I have a couple bowls here. So if I do this, like I always believe in making contact. So if I'm up here, this is a full box of cereal, right? And I'll do this with my eyes closed. It's tough to find that contact because if I start pouring with contact, I'm going to miss my bowl. So I'm going to demonstrate this later too, but I move the box off the edge of the table. So then the box is lower to the bowl. And my hand then can kind of cover the bowl. And even if my hand is smaller, I can kind of feel the cereal going in. Like, oh, that kind of feels about how much I want. So just because if I'm way up here, I start to tip. And imagine if I'm tipping with a milk carton or a pitcher, I'm going to miss and I'm going to spill. And then parents get mad, teachers get mad, and the kids get mad. It's just a bad day. So just working on that whole spilling, and who cares if we spill, right? It's no big deal because then we get to work on cleaning skills. So I have my bowl of cereal, but now we need milk. So I have a gallon of milk. So again, how do we pour that? So I'm going to open this up, and with good vision, right? I can hold the bowl and I can pour it, and I can kind of aim that. But if I can't see it all, again, I'm going to touch the milk carton to the bowl on the table. Well, if I start to tip that, I'm going to miss that bowl and I'm going to spill and I'm going to get frustrated with myself. So again, I'm going to bring the milk carton and the bowl to the edge of the table. Now I can drop that lower and I can line that the opening of the milk jug with the bowl, and I can start to pour. And then my free hand sits kind of on top of the cereal, and I'm not putting my finger in there as you would with like a glass of milk or a glass of water, knowing when it's full. But what I like to do here is, as we start to pour, and I can listen to it, the cereal starts to float up. So it's touching my index finger, it's touching my palm, and it's even touching part of my thumb. As the cereal rises, I can tell. And if I get too much there, it really floats. And then my fingers might even get wet from all that milk that's in there. So just thinking about how I'm going to pour that cereal, how I'm going to pour that milk, and then we can start to eat. So I'm just going to set this aside, and I get to have a snack when we're done. But my Cheerios might be too soggy then, I'm not sure. So as we eat and we look around the world, sometimes there's too much visual clutter if we have low vision. What I mean by that is, here's a placemat. And sometimes placemats are nice, they kind of set up our boundary. But this one has so many multicolors. It's so busy. And the same with this, it's got flowers, it's got little green leaves and little blue dots and lots of stuff going on. There's too much there. It might be hard to see things, it might be frustrating. So here's another placemat. This is the easiest one, it's neat, it's got a plastic, but what's wrong with this one, there's too much glare on there, right? So if I have a certain eye condition, I'm looking down at that might just be disabling for me. I could try to wear a hat or adjust the lighting, but again, that glare on the table just might always be there. Again, frustrating. So this one, it's a nice solid blue placemat, which I really like. I can set that down, but I had a white bowl before, but here's a blue bowl on there. There's no contrast there. But I can have a white placemat and a blue bowl, and that can just kind of be nice, be able to set things on the table. I can then know, just kind of with a nice soft touch, know where everything's at. And my spoons are here, my napkin, kind of just slide my hand up, find my glass. That's, it's great. If I have a plate, a nice yellow plate on a blue background, again, that kind of jumps out at me. But this would be difficult for macaroni and cheese. This would be difficult for corn. It could be difficult even for like boiled potatoes that are all mashed up. Put some butter on there, but it's kind of a white, it might just get washed out on there for you. So not that we have to think about always like colors of plates and bowls and placemats, but just having good eating techniques and how things are gonna move. So that helps, but that visual clutter, is even on a Honey Nut Cheerios box. Think about if you've seen the generic cereals, let's say oat cereal, right? It's black and white, it's just nice, easy to see. But here it's just lots of colors, lots of moving parts with the Cheerios and lots of colors, little characters. That can be difficult for some people with low vision to look through and see. It's like, I just want to know where my cereal is and I want to be able to grab this cereal. So grocery shopping can be difficult. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is like pouring. I got nothing in this one, but if I have this pitcher and I have this smaller glass, like a juice glass, and I bring them together, and I could lift this, by the time I pour my pitcher, I've spilt because I can't move it back in time. And I could lift this up and I could tuck my finger in the glass, but sometimes I might be tired. Where's level and where's straight? I might tilt my glass a little bit. So as I start pouring, I'm gonna start pouring it up. So again, I'm gonna bring my glass and my pitcher to the edge of the table. Then I can bring my pitcher down, find contact with the spout, and my fingers tucked into that glass, and then I can start to pour. I'm not gonna pour really fast. I'm not gonna pour really slow. But the other thing I can do is I can listen for the sound rising. That sound changes in a glass. But if I pour really fast and my finger gets wet as it's sucked in, I don't have time to stop. But if I pour really slow, okay, it's coming, and the stress and anxiety, they're like, okay, this isn't happening. So just go nice and slow, even pour. I think practicing like practicing over like a cake pan or something. So if you spill, it goes onto the cake pan or a jelly roll pan, and then I can just dump that in the sink. Now a taller glass, I can do that right here. My spout, I can get contact easier. So it all depends on how tall the glass is, if it's a coffee mug or wherever, if it's a drink jug that I'm taking out. Now, if we're gonna go and reach for something, I'm not gonna use the last one, but if we're out to eat and I'm sitting at the table and I wanna reach for my glass, and the pitcher will be my glass. If I reach up high, I can knock that over easily. So thinking about how we're gonna grab something. So even if I have low vision, but then we go out into a restaurant, I'll the lighting is dark and it's affected vision, that can be hard. So just taking my hand, sliding it up nicely, I can touch that glass, that pitcher, and I can touch the bottom of it. I can slide it around all day and not knock it over, and I can go up and grab it, bring it down and drink. When I set it down, I want to make sure I find it being able to be secure, and then I can just bring my hand back. So thinking about how we're going to reach for things. Because again, if you're out on a job interview, on a date, out with your family, your grandparents, you don't want to like spill and have an upheaval. You know, we just want to have a nice supper. All right. So things I like to do is take kids. A lot of parents say, don't hold a knife, you'll cut yourself. Don't go to the stove, you'll burn yourself. So what do I like to do? I like to give kids a knife and take them to the stove. I have cutting boards that are black on one side, white on the other. And this is a good cutting board. It's a nice heavy cutting board. One thing about this one though, it can slide. And that can be frustrating. It's not very safe at times. I have a very similar cutting board. It's just white and it got black edges, but the black edges stick. Now to make this one stay in one spot, a nice little trick. I can just take a wet paper towel. I can just lay it on the counter, the table, wherever underneath, and now it's stuck. You can do that with a washcloth or a paper towel, and that is a nice safety technique. So as I'm going to cut something, I'm going to grab a knife, and I think always having the right tool for the right job. So, you know, if you have good vision, you might just leave that knife down. Oh, there's a knife. I'm just going to grab that, right? But if we're working, I can lock it in the top of my cutting board. I like it till the handle's straight, you know, and I can touch the knife. I'm not going to slide my hand down the knife, but I can touch it and I can feel that. So I'll lock that in, and I know then where things are at. I can feel the cutting board, I can work all the way around it, and I can go ahead and grab things. So I'm going to leave it this way, and I'm going to cut an apple. I'll show you the way I like to teach people how to cut an apple. So I worked with a 15-year-old student once, and he said he wanted to work with knives. So I brought out 4 different knives. I brought out a chef's knife, a paring knife, a steak knife, and like a bread knife if you're going to cut something. Laid him on the table, and he had low vision, and he left the room. His anxiety and his stress got so much to him because he had heard. But this is a student that has now recently graduated college, but he was definitely scared of the knives. And once we put something in the oven, I told his mom, we made brownies. I had your son put them in the oven to bake them. And she's like, a hot oven? So again, that's that overprotectiveness at times where, you know, then they turn 18 and the parents are like, well, aren't they independent? Well, these skills start at home at a young age too. So I'm going to slide this forward. So what I like to do for cutting an apple, and yes, there's those cores that we can push down, and those are great. But at times we don't always have all that. You know, like I had a parent once going back to toothpaste once. They go, oh, you can get a toothpaste dispenser and just push it under there and it dispenses out toothpaste on your toothbrush. I said, well, that's great. But are you going to pack that in your suitcase when you go flying on an airplane? Are you going to pack that when you go to your grandparents? So you can always have that. So we have to have ways that we can adapt as we go out into different environments. So if I'm going to core this apple, okay, and I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm cutting it with a chef's knife, and then I can just lay that down. Now I have a weebly. I don't want to do it on the rounded part because that's not safe. So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to line that up carefully. And I can always check before I ever put any pressure. Now my left hand is going to go on top of the knife. My right hand is on the handle. Now I can feel all these pieces. Like, oh, I can feel some core in there. So again, I'm going to lay this kind of however flat it seems, right? I'm not gonna do the, where it's gonna roll on me. So I lay that flat, and here it's not really essential, I'm just gonna lay that cut through, so I know that there should be no core on that piece. On this piece, I lay flat again, but I can feel the core. So I'm gonna take my fingernail and I'm gonna line it up where there's no core. I'm gonna bring that knife over my fingernail, line that knife up straight. And now this would be my core, and there's no core here. So as I continue, I can, so this is all good. I can feel all that woodiness. And so this would be, I'd have a good pile, might have a bowl for the good pieces and a bowl for the core, and I can just throw that away. So again, if I take this one, I can feel all that core. I want to see which way this apple lays down the most. And I'm going to just, and I'm going to be careful when I cut, thinking about where my fingers are, the placement. And I can feel that knife going through the woody part, the core of it. And again, there's no core on this. So that would be a good apple to eat. So that's one way to do some cutting. Now, if I was going to cut some of these smaller pieces, we're going to move that chef's knife and I have a paring knife. So again, thinking if I wanted to cut these apples in a smaller piece, I may then use my finger, my index finger, as my guide. So that I'm going to stand that up. I'm not going to lay it flat because then there's fleshy part that the knife can get. But if I stand my finger up, I can bring that knife to my fingernail and I'm not going to cut my fingernail. So I can line it up, move my finger back, I can then slice. And it's not always just a pushing down. I like to bring that knife and just pull it towards me. So it's, the knife is just doing all the work. So just little pieces of apple. It's a nice way to do some cutting. So I'm going to move this. So these two cutting boards, I really like the black and the white one. And then I have another one that's black and the four edges are black. And that, again, that one sticks in the spot for me. But remember, like a wet paper towel or a wet washcloth will hold that in place for you. So oven mitts, and let's see. I think oven mitts are so much better than a pot holder. So as I put this oven mitt on, I'm covered 3/4 of the way, all the way up to my elbow. So if I think of a pot holder, yep, my hand is open, my wrist hand's open. So what happens when we have low vision or blindness, our depth perception might be off. So I open up that oven. And what we all like to do is, right, we cheat, we just try and set things into the oven. It's really important to slide that rack out. So our hands are never really going in there. But if we do it with a pot holder, it's very easy to burn our forearms and to like misplace something or even touch something with the back of our hand. So that's why it's nice to have two oven mitts. As we go in, I'm not going to get burnt anywhere. Pull that rack out. I get to set my pan right on the oven rack and then push it in. And then there are little kid oven mitts as well. So just being able to explore. And when I have kids, they've never seen a stove or oven, or they've seen them, but they've never worked with them. When it's all cold, let's see how deep that oven is. Let's see how big and tall and wide, and just explore that. Let's look at the stove top and feel the coils, or if it's a flat top, or even if it's a gas. Thinking about how all that heat gets to that. So then, you know, we put something in there, and then we have to know how long to time something. So I have an Alexa in my office or in the kitchen. I can use her. I can use my phone to set a timer. I have a talking timer, which I really like. This is a simple one. I think this one's like $12. So I can just go 1 minute, 2 minutes. And the big dot, the big button, we'll start it. The other, and this is fairly large print, but the other thing I like about this is the hour and the minutes are the same size. The start stop is very large, but then in between though, there's a little yellow button as well that's smaller. Which will read back to me how much time is left. So again, if you're an elementary student and you don't have a phone, you don't have a device in your kitchen that might be a timer, you know, like a $12 timer can help you do things. Such as your parents can give this to you and say, okay, you have to practice your piano for 15 minutes. You're like, okay. You're like, how much time is left? Rather than asking your parents, you can ask this device. I'm gonna do a little cleaning, but I want to talk about like spreading. I hope my butter has softened. So I'm gonna grab a knife. I have a plate of butter. And if you have a stick of butter, if you ever need to know how to like measure that, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, so a stick of butter has 8 tablespoons on it. So a finger is about a tablespoon of butter. So if you're a small child, you're like, oh, your little fingers are not quite, but as you grow up, fingers are about, remember the word about, is about a tablespoon. I had an adult once and he grew up milking cows, so he had big fingers, so his were much bigger, but most people last week with adults, she needed 3 tablespoons and hers were right on. So now I have a piece of bread. This is cinnamon bread, just a piece of bread, but it's cinnamon flavored. So if I'm gonna make toast, right? Oh, and it'll go off for, I think, 30 seconds telling you the time is up on the timer. But just take a knife and go across a piece of bread. Again, if it's toast, you could really hear it. But here, I feel how rough this is. I can feel how rough that knife is. So now as I take a piece of some butter, and I can just take my knife in a little bit, slide up and then slide down. Now when we have vision, right? We just like, oh, I can see where I'm going and I just make sure I get all the areas done, right? But as I'm gonna do this again, I'd say if my vision is limited, I'm gonna start and I'm gonna have a pattern here. So I may start up in the upper right corner and I'm gonna work all my way to the left. And I go back and I'm gonna keep working my way down that piece of bread. So, and now as I feel this, that feels a little smoother, but this is kind of rough down here yet. So then I would go and get some more butter. And I'm gonna then, oh, that feels very smooth to me now. And I can just keep going. And if I don't have a pattern, I'm not gonna, and then if I wanna make sure I do a better job, I could rotate that 90 degrees. And then I'm gonna spread my butter a different way. So continuing just to feel that, and I can do that on a table, or a plate and things like that. You don't have to hold it depending on it. But if we look at that, I kind of spread that without looking at it. And I look at it now, there's butter kind of spread all over that. And if I put way too much butter on it, I'm like, oh, that's really slippery. There's too much. And think about toast. It's really crunchy and you get butter on there, right? And then you can start to feel that, how that softens on toast as well. I'm going to show the technique that I like for cutting something. Grab a fork and a knife here. So we're out to eat, and we have, so this is a piece of ham. I wish it was thicker. We're going to put 2 pieces together. It may or may not work. So think about like when you go out to eat at a restaurant, and if you like all 3 of these things, they're like your 3 favorite food: mashed potatoes, peas, and steak, and it's in a dark restaurant. So even if you have some low vision, the lighting has affected you. What would you eat first and why? I would say don't leave the peas until the end. If the only thing you have on your plate is peas, you're gonna start chasing those little peas around your plate. Your frustration, your stress, and your anxiety, and you won't like peas, and you probably won't order them again. But if you eat those peas first, you can buffer them into your steak, you can buffer them into your potatoes, you can use a spoon or fork to push them together on one utensil. You could order your peas in a separate bowl. So thinking about that. So then if you ate the potatoes, now the only thing you have on your plate is a steak. So you have room to cut. But if you cut that steak first and you have peas and potatoes, as you start working and cutting, well, now we got potatoes off to the right and peas off to the right and the left and everything. And people are gonna walk by and go, well, that person doesn't know how to eat. And as we hear those comments, that doesn't feel very good. So just again, working on these table skills as we start working. So if this is a steak or even a piece of ham or something that we have to cut, I'm gonna take my fork and I'm gonna move in a little bit. I'm not gonna move in a bunch, but it's practice, right? Move in a little bit, and I'm gonna spear that. Now I'm gonna cut on one side of the fork. I'm gonna cut on the other side of the fork. Now I cut right behind the fork. So what I should have is a bite-sized piece of food. So as wide as the fork, however deep I moved in. Now if I pick something up, like, oh, that feels very heavy and lopsided and wiggly, I don't want to bring that to my mouth because that just doesn't feel right on my fork. So then I may want to take that down. I might want to even explore it with my knife, thinking about the size of that, the density. So thinking about, how do we use a knife or how do we use a fork? Some things we can cut, like pancakes, we can cut with a fork. So just practicing, like putting it on your hand, and we're going to use the heel of the fork to cut food, like a pancake or an omelet or French toast. But then sometimes we need that knife. It could be a steak knife, it could be a butter knife. Just being able to cut things. That's really important. I'm just going to set that there. I'm just going to grab something, two things here. Because after we've done all this stuff, right, we get to clean up. And cleaning is really important. So I just have a Clorox bleach wipes. I love Clorox bleach wipes. I think they're a great way to clean. If I go to get one out, sometimes they can be tough to get out. So when somebody has good vision, they can look at the table, right? And go, oh, there's a dirty spot, there's a dirty spot. And they just kind of go, kind of quick over clean that whole area. But when we don't have good vision, we kind of like buttering that bread. We have to have a system to know that to ensure that everything got cleaned and washed. So I may start on the edge of my countertop here, and I'm going to do this vertically. And I'm not going to just reach out like that, right? Because if I reach out, everything's at an angle, I might miss something. So I want to think about my body position. So I'm going to try and keep my hand kind of in front of my belly button. So I'm just going to move up and I'm going to come back down. And then as I start getting over, I'm going to move my body. So everything's running vertically. And this could be a washcloth as well, for like a table or a countertop, most likely would be. So I'm just going to do that, right? So I work my way over. I would go over, rinse out my washcloth, and I'm going to wash that out. Now, I may have like missed something. I made a V pattern as I'm washing and got distracted. So I'm going to wash that out. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to start on the same spot. But this time I'm going to go horizontal. My left hand can still be the free hand looking to see if there's something slimy, sticky, gooey. And under the washcloth, I would feel that too. So I'm just going to go left to right. And then I'm going to bring that down. Again, kind of centering my body, kind of right where my belly button is. Then I can move my body over again. And I can go left to right. Again, all the way to the top. And I can be checking and bring that down. Now for the last time, I'm going to feel the edge of that and do that. So again, I've washed that twice. So as I continue to do that, everything should be done clean in that area. So I think cleaning is important. Sweeping is definitely kind of fun to do. What I like to do is, I'm going to use the spatula as an example. So if I can reach this whole area, my toes are underneath me, right? This Clorox bleach wipe will be my toes. So I'm gonna start at 9 o'clock and I'm gonna sweep everything to my toes. I'm gonna go to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, sweeping with a broom, bringing it all to my toes. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Now, the last time I bring that pile to my toes, I have a pile of dirt or whatever it is on my toes, and I take a step back and I bring that dirt again now with me, and I repeat that pattern. However, I've set up my room in a boundary. I can't just start in a big room. I might set a chair or an island or something to kind of know where I'm at in that room. Just be able to help me orientate myself to that room. And we have about 10 minutes left. I have a couple other things, but are there any questions, Amy?
There are no questions in the chat yet, but feel free to put any questions that you might have for Ken in the chat and he can answer them for you.
So a couple of quick things. So I didn't want to move the iPad all around. So this pot holder is going to be my burner. So I get a lot of questions about flat top stoves and even coil stoves, like where the heat is, and we can feel the coil, but can't feel the heat. We can feel the heat on a flat top, but we can't really feel it. So as we're stirring, right, and we get distracted, and as we're working, that pan might move a little bit. And the change of the sound of the way it's cooking might even change a little bit. But what we can do every now and then, we don't want to place our hand 2 inches above the pan. But if we place our hand 8 to 10 inches above that pan, and if we move it again where this pot holder is, we are going to feel direct heat coming up. So the term I like to use is hide the heat. So if I feel a lot of heat here, I'm going to slide my pan over, and then I don't feel a direct heat because that heat is then going into the pan, getting dispersed and cooking that food. So again, like I might even, if it slides over this way, my hand holding onto the pan is going to feel the heat. So I can check, there's lots of heat there, or if it's up or down. So that's something just to practice with at times. Moving that pan, it's easy for that pan to slide off. So we want to think about how we're doing that. Thinking about how we fry hamburger. So here's a pan that's got slanted edges. I would say this is more of a pancake pan or an egg pan, scrambled eggs. Because if we put a hamburger in here, this could slide out. So thinking about if I'm going to fry hamburger, this pan got the edges are 2 inches deep and thick. So it's nice as I can go ahead and chop that hamburger. If I'm making chili or something, I can use a big stock pot where it will never fly out on me. But how do I know if my hamburger is done? Again, I can time it. So on medium heat, a thawed out pound of hamburger is about 12 to 13 minutes for it to be fully cooked. So I can use a timer to cook it that way. As I go to chop that right away, raw hamburger is rubbery, it's gooey, it's mushy. So thinking about as I'm chopping that with a spatula, thinking about how is that happening? So as it gets fully cooked, if I go to chop it, I can feel it just fall apart on me. So those are two ways, but then I can also smell it. And I'm going to listen to that sound. The smell has changed as it's definitely being cooked more. I can go, it smells like hamburger. And then I can hear as it's sizzling and how are we going to drain the grease. So thinking about some of those skills. What I like to do to drain the grease, sometimes I can take a bowl with lined paper towels with a colander and just dump the grease or dump the hamburger in there and all that grease pops out, and I put the hamburger back in the pan. It will then start to cook some more and it's going to sizzle more because some of that water and grease has left, which is doing that. Sometimes I cheat. I'll take a tongs with 3 paper towels and make a big ball, and I just kind of mush it around and squish it around in the pan. And that's a nice way to get some grease up. Some of the biggest frustrations I've seen as kids hold a wooden spoon or a spatula, right? We hold it way on the edge, or even a spoon, right? We're going to stir something, it's way up here. Well, think about if somebody grabs your wrist and they're going to pull you, they can pull you, right? I have some control. But if a teacher or parent grabs you up by the shoulder and they're going to move you, they have better control. So if I grab my wooden spoon and I'm gonna stir, I have much better strength if I'm holding it closer to the ladle part. So that is really important. Just thinking about how you're gonna hold a utensil, and like we wanna be able to know we're holding that. So one last thing, I used the word ladle, so it reminded me of my measuring spoon. So I talked a lot about labeling earlier. So I have a set of black measuring cups, and it is on the handles, it's fairly large print, but they're also color coded. But that can still be frustrating. So I've taken spotline pen or fabric paint in orange color, and I've placed on my measuring cups. So my one cup has one big dot, and I can feel that. It's not braille, but it's much easier to like going, is that one cup? Is that, the one dot? My half a cup has two dots on it. So I can easily feel that. My third has three dots, and my fourth has four dots. So again, it's a simple way of doing that. Or again, you could take a knife and you could cut grooves in there. Four little slashes is a fourth of a cup, three is a third. Again, just simple little dashes. I've done that to some. I've taken them out to the shop and done it with a saw, or I've taken just a kitchen steak knife and done that. And my measuring spoons, I have a couple sets, but this one set is bent. And again, 1 tablespoon is one big dot, 1 teaspoon is one little dot, and 4 is a fourth, and 2 is a half. And the reason I bent these is if I need a tablespoon of milk, I can pour a cup of milk, and then I can just ladle it out, and I can put it in my bowl as I need. Now, if it's just milk, I can drink the milk, or if it's like olive oil or vanilla, I don't want to drink that. So I can take I had a funnel here. I can take my funnel and pour it back into the container, and then I haven't wasted any of the vanilla, the olive oil, or the vegetable oil, things like that. So it's just a quick way, because if I'm trying to measure this with low vision, I'm up here trying to see it, and I'm gonna spill and make a mess, but it's a nice way to measure things quickly. So there's a lot to daily living skills. I just, it's, as I said, it's that independence. We all want to be living in our own, living in an apartment, living in a house, hanging out with friends, but we're cooking, and we can't always go out to eat because that gets expensive. We can't always do Uber Eats, that's very expensive. And we don't always have mom and dad there to cook for us, or a school to cook for us. So I think cooking's a lot of fun, and it's interesting to start small, being able to pour and spread, cut and make simple things in the oven or a microwave. And I have my microwave labeled, just simple, the puff paint on there, and then a C for clear and an S for start. It's not braille. Some people put braille on there. So depending on your vision, we like to try and meet you where you're at. So I'd love to open this up for questions, as we have just about 4 minutes left. So any questions, please?
Yeah, feel free to turn your mic off and ask a question, or put one in the chat. Ken, you always amaze me. You teach me something new every time. One of the things was the wet paper towel for a non-stick surface. Great idea. Thank you.
Welcome.
Quiet group today we have.
Can I ask a question? Are there, like if you begin teaching maybe a middle schooler in a school setting, are there easier recipes besides like just plain pudding, or, that you've started with that have been successful?
Yeah, so I've been in contact with like family and consumer science teachers that are middle school, and they've given me like recipes that they do that, they might do in the classroom. One that comes to mind right away is pizza poppers. It's like the crescent rolls, but first you take cheese sticks and you cut the cheese stick into fourths, and then you take a crescent roll, you wrap that around a piece of pepperoni and a mozzarella cheese stick, and you put them in a muffin tin, and you bake that, and then you can dip it in like marinara sauce or pizza sauce. But I would, like, if you're in a school setting, talk to like a home ec or a family consumer science teacher. Sometimes they have that, or if you Google like recipes for 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds, you'll get lots of hits and things like that. And what I really like is just asking kids, like, what do you want to make? You know, like a boxed food item. Let's make boxed cake mix or, you know, brownies, because that's so important. Like just the stirring and the mixing, and like as we're chopping up hamburger, we all tend to miss something, right? Or if I'm stirring, there's a spot that, you know, we all tend to miss something. It could be like that 11 to 12 or that 4 to 5 area on a bowl. Like, yeah, I just don't get that. So as we mix, sometimes I like to rotate that bowl, you know, to make sure I'm not gonna miss something. Like Googling recipes for kids, you'll get thousands of hits. But, you know, it's interesting, I was saying, when I have kids here, like, yep, we're gonna make like a grilled cheese, and they're like, I hate grilled cheese. Well, I still want you to do something against stove, so let's do scrambled eggs, or, you know. So I just think all that mixing is important, and opening up packages. So I think like a kitchen scissors is valuable to everybody. Like there's certain packages, like we can open chips, pulling them apart. But if you think about like a box brownie mix or box cake mix, you cannot pull that stuff apart. You need a good kitchen scissors, and sometimes some of the students we work with don't always have good kitchen or scissors ability. So being able to open up a scissors and cut something open, or how do you open a yogurt container or a string cheese container, all the different varieties of things that we need to open.
Thank you. Great question. Anyone else? All right. Well, appreciate your time and your knowledge, Ken. Thank you for sharing it with us today. I've left a evaluation link in the chat. If you guys can all take the time to go and fill that out, I would appreciate it very much.
I would too.
Yeah. Ken, we have a thank you so much. This was so helpful. Thank you for providing an ASL interpreter. Thank you, Whitney, for being with us today. I appreciate it. So with that, I think we will sign off. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Whitney. I will stop recording.